So today is March 14th, 2025. Yesterday we were talking about the two factors that we have to, the two factors which is very important to have a quick progress in the practice, that is Sayagyi, continuous observation, and Sayagyi, respectful observation or careful observation, that we should try our best to observe the objects continuously, one object after another object, and to be able to note every arising objects in the present moment. Then we should be very careful also. We should do very respectfully. We should not be looking here and there, though we have a very good eyesight. We should not pay attention to any sounds, though we have a very good ear. And though we have a lot of knowledge about the practice or about the Dhamma, then we should behave as a dumb, that we know nothing. We should not talk, and also we have to behave as a very weak person, though we are very strong. So here, when we said we should not talk, then we have to know about this clearly. We should not talk means we are not speaking with other people only. We should try to keep the noble silence. In Pali, it is called Ariyo Tunhībhāvo, noble silence. Maintain the noble silence. So when we go to the meditation centers, we always see there a signboard of noble silence everywhere. And when we saw that notice, that sign, we understand that, okay, we should not speak here. The meditation is in progress. There is a retreat going on, so we should not talk with each other. That's why we don't speak, we don't talk, we don't make any noise, so that the other the other meditators will not be disturbed by us. So we are very careful when we see that sign of noble silence. We immediately stop talking. So that noble silence, in Pali, it is called Ariyo Tunhībhāvo. So how this Ariyo Tunhībhāvo, noble silence, is defined in the text, we have to understand that. Generally, we understand not speaking, not talking with each other. That is the noble silence. But only not talking with other people is not a noble silence. It is not of Ariyo Tunhībhāvo according to the text. Though we are not talking with other people, if we are still talking in our mind, we are talking ourselves. If we are thinking, if we are imagining, fantasizing, if we are planning, judging, if we are analyzing, if we are reflecting, then though we are not speaking, but we are still talking in our mind. And then it is not a noble silence. So in the text, it is said that samatha vipassana bhavana putang akathanang. That is the meaning of noble silence, Ariyo Tunhībhāvo. Means either samatha meditation or vipassana meditation. If we are noting, if we are observing either the samatha object or the vipassana object, then that is the noble silence. So what does it mean? It means, especially in the retreat, if we are keeping noble silence, then we have to observe the objects. As we are practicing here Satipatthana Vipassana meditation, we have 4 great objects: Kaya, body; Vedana, feelings; Chitta, consciousness; and the Dhamma. So we should try to observe those objects. And among these 4 objects, we should try to focus on the most obvious one. The most obvious object occurring at that very moment, we should try to observe. Then we are keeping a noble silence. So yesterday we heard about noting continuously without any break. The notings should be uninterrupted. The first noting should be followed by the second one. The second should be followed by the third one. And third should be followed by the fourth, and so on, to make continuous. So same way, if we are keeping the noble silence, Ariyo Tunhībhāvo, then we should be observing the objects one after another continuously. We do not have a time to think about that object. Whenever the object occurs, sometimes we are curious about that object. What is going to happen? What is going to happen if I observe this one? How will it change? So we have many curiosity regarding that object. If we are thinking about the object instead of noting it immediately, then we lose mindfulness. There is no mindfulness. That means there is no noble silence. So we want a very quiet place for meditation. And we think that if I got to practice in the very quiet place, very, very quiet place, I will progress in the practice very quickly. So we think that way, and we always want to have a very quiet place. Yes, if we got that type of very quiet place to do meditation, then that is very good. The Buddha also said in the many suttas, especially in Satipatthana Sutta, the place should be forest, either forest or under the tree or the sunyagara, quiet place. So we always wish to practice in the very quiet place because we want to progress very quickly in the practice. We want to gain the knowledge very quickly. But though we are practicing in the quiet place, if our mind is not quiet, then that is not very fruitful, practicing in the very quiet place. So if we do not get a chance to practice in the very quiet place, we are practicing in the city center where many houses, where many people, where we can hear many sounds, the car sound, people talking sound. But if we still can note the objects occurring at that moment, then that is more beneficial. So the most important thing here is to keep the noble silence. Though we didn't get a chance to practice in very quiet place, but if we can maintain that noble silence, then surely we progress in the practice very quickly. So when we can maintain the noble silence means when we are able to observe the objects occurring one after another, then we develop mindfulness. But to maintain that noble silence again, or to be able to note continuously, then we again need effort, virya. So at the beginning of the retreat, we heard about this virya, effort. Everywhere, the effort is very essential. We have to put effort, we have to try. We have to try so that we will be able to note the objects continuously. If we don't try, if we don't put effort, if our mind is not very active, very alert, then we won't be able to note continuously. So here again, effort is very essential. Effort is very important factor in the practice, especially at the very beginning of the retreat. If we keep on putting effort, if we keep on noting the objects by applying effort, and if we are again focusing the object, aiming the object, then the noting mind will not run here and there. The noting mind will fall directly on the object. Many times we may fail. Many times we may fail to observe the every arising objects, but because we are very active, very alert, we are applying effort, we come to know that we forget to note, we fail. And then again, we exert effort so that next time we won't fail to note. So virya is very essential all the time. To note continuously and to note respectfully, to practice respectfully. Virya is very essential so that we can keep our mind on every arising objects. And when we want to wish the benefits of the practice, we want to gain the benefits of the practice, we again need to apply efforts. In Bhavana Sutta, the Buddha mentioned that only having desire for the benefits of the practice is not enough. Only having desire to gain the benefits of the practice is not enough if we don't apply effort in the practice. So the Buddha said that if a person who is not putting any effort in the practice, who is not trying in the practice, but he wished that, oh, how good it would be if my mind is free from all sorts of defilements. If my mind is very pure and clean, how good it will be. But that is not going to happen, the Buddha said. Why? Because he is not putting any effort to be able to observe the objects continuously. Continuous practice is very important, and to be able to practice continuously, effort is very important. So if a person just want to have the pure and clean mind, but he is not trying, he is not putting any effort. He is not putting any effort, but just wishing that, oh, how good it would be if my mind becomes very pure and clean, if my mind becomes very calm and tranquil. That is not going to happen because he's not putting any effort. And the Buddha again said that suppose there was a hen with 8 or 10 or 12 eggs. And this mother hen, she had not properly sat on those eggs to keep the eggs warm and incubated. But the mother hen always wished that, oh, how good it would be if my chicks break out the eggshells with their claws and beak and hatch safely. How good it would be. The mother hen always wished for that. But she is not sitting on the eggs to make them warm. Though she is wishing that her chicks break out the eggshells and hatch safely, it is not going to happen. The reason for that is because the mother hen, she did not properly sit on the eggs to make them warm. On the other hand, if the mother hen sat properly on the eggs to make them warm and incubated, then though she did not wish for the safe hatch, though she wished, but surely her chicks could break out the egg cells and hatch safely. So in the same way, if we wish to gain that of the practice, if one wish to have a pure and clean mind, then he has to practice. He has to put effort in the practice. He has to put effort. He has to practice continuously. Then, though he does not have any wish for the benefits, because he is applying effort, he is trying his best in the practice, noting continuously and respectfully, he will gain the benefits of the practice surely. So what kind of immediate benefits that we can gain by practicing continuously, applying effort and aiming? When the noting mind falls on the object arising in the present moment, mind just falls on that object and stay on that object, then there is no any other burden, because so that we apply effort and aim the object, the mindfulness occurs. And if we able to note one object, there is one mindfulness. If we able to note the two objects, then there is two mindfulness, and so on. So first benefit is we gain mindfulness. We develop mindfulness. And once we develop mindfulness, samadhi concentration will also develop. So first, we have to gain momentum of mindfulness. We have to gain the momentum. Therefore, every moment, every second, we should be noting one object after another continuously. So noting is something like a recording. We are recording the objects, one object after another. At the beginning of the sitting, we focus on the main object, rising and falling movement in the abdomen. Continuously noting rising, falling, and after maybe 2, 3, 4 notings of rising, falling, the mind wanders. Because the mind is very alert, then the mind immediately realizes this wandering mind, and then noting the wandering mind as wandering. And once the wandering mind noted, it disappears very quickly. Because at the beginning, the mind is very active. We can see the wandering mind doesn't stay for a long time. It disappears very quickly. And then again, the noting mind returns back to main object, rising, falling. After noting few times, again the mind wanders. The noting mind realizes it quickly because of the effort, because of the active mind. So we have to maintain that active mind also. We should try to keep the mind active. But sometimes, at the beginning of the sitting, the mind is very active, but when the time passes on, then slowly the mind slacks. And if we don't realize that, though we think we are focusing on the main object, but the mind is not on that object, wandering somewhere, but we come to realize only later, sometimes after the whole story finished, and then we know, oh, my mind was wandering somewhere. That is because when the mind slacks, we did not realize that. We did not notice that. So in that case, we have to boost our effort again. We have to make our mind alert again, try to focus again. So if we can do that way, then we would be recording the objects one after another. That recording is, in the Pali, it is called like a sanya, is a perception. So when this recording becomes strong, good enough, then we will have nearest cause of mindfulness to arise is a strong perception. Very nearest cause for the arising of mindfulness. That is strong perception, means noting one after another, like recording one object after another. Try to note every object one after another continuously. Many times we forget, many times we miss, but we try again. We try again. And if we keep on noting that way, means we are recording the objects, and that recording becomes very strong, tirasanya, the strong perceptions, so that the mindfulness occurs. So that mindfulness is very important part in the practice, because we are doing satipatthana practice. The mindfulness is simply translated as the sati, Pali word sati is simply translated as mindfulness. But here another word, patthana, the satipatthana, means that is not just the ordinary mindfulness. It is the firmly established mindfulness, established on the object of observation. That type of mindfulness we develop when we note continuously with effort and aim. So when the mindfulness it firmly established on the object, that means the whatever objects we note, we feel that our mind is penetrating that object, not just in the surface are very concurrent. The noting mind see the object very clearly, because these two things becomes face to face. Directly, the noting mind directly fall on the object and see that object very clearly. So we can see the nature of the object very clearly, because the noting mind is face to face with that object. And we can feel that mindfulness becomes very strong. So what happened at that time when the noting mind becomes face to face with the object? We see the mind is directly falls on that object, face to face with that object, and see the nature of that object. That means there is no impurities, no defilements, no greed, lobha, no hatred, aversion, dosa, no delusion, moha objects. Very clear-cut manner. And at that time, we feel that we are safe. We are safe. We are protected. Because those impurities, those defilements are like enemies. They are dangers. We are free of dangers. We feel very safe and protected. That is because of the good mindfulness. When there is a very good mindfulness, the mindfulness sentiments, it will not let the defilements enter into our mind. It will not let. So the mindfulness is like a gatekeeper or a security guard. A security guard will not allow everyone inside. He will check. If a person seems good, then only he allowed. Otherwise, he will not allow. In the same way, when we have a very strong and good mindfulness, then the noting mind and object are face to face, and so the defilements, the impurities, the dangers will not have a chance to enter into the mind. That means our noting mind is protected, very safe. We feel very safe. When there is protection, then we feel safe. Noting mind prevents the defilements. So we are safe and we are free of defilements. We feel very freedom from the defilements. So we feel that because of that mindfulness. So mindfulness we need to develop by noting continuously, by recording every object one after another. And to be able to note continuously, we put effort. We need to exert effort. So when we have this type of mindfulness, because the mind is very safe, protected from the defilements, and there is no disturbances. We feel freedom. We feel very calm, very peaceful. And when we feel our mind is very calm and peaceful, we see the things more clearly, because that is samadhi. Samadhi is there. And we see the things clearly. We see the very true nature of mental and physical phenomena. We come to see how these mental and physical phenomena are related as a cause and effect. And we come to see how these mental and physical phenomena arises and passes away. We come to see the three common characteristics of all physical and mental phenomena: the impermanent nature, the suffering nature, and the non-self nature. These three common characteristics we come to see. So those benefits we gain when we practice very continuously, very respectfully, applying effort. Therefore, to gain the benefit of the practice, these are actually the immediate benefit we gain. If we are able to note for 1 hour, in this 1 hour sitting continuously, we gain that benefit. If we can observe the objects for 2 hours continuously, we gain these benefits. But again here, the wandering mind is not a problem. We have to understand that also. We feel that the mind wanders a lot, so I cannot focus on the primary object and other objects. The mind has a nature, wandering here and there. But what we have to do is we have to note that wandering mind immediately. Then we have a good mindfulness. Noting wandering mind, we are developing mindfulness. So every time, we don't have a time to think about the object. What is this object? Why is this object? How is it? What is going to happen? We don't have a time to think all those things. If we are thinking, then though we are not talking with others, but we are talking ourselves, and we are not maintaining noble silence, so we don't develop the mindfulness. So noble silence helps to develop mindfulness. Noble silence, noting all arising objects, one after another. We just need to try. Slowly, slowly, we will be able to note all of them. So may you all be able to maintain the noble silence in order to develop a very good and strong mindfulness, so that this practice very quickly. That's all for today.